lacking water.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's not a lot of plants can do that. So it's very important to get those really hardy versions.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like it could live in medium drought conditions and medium,
Right.
water intensive conditions, but we're trying to figure out if this works, and if it does, we're going to be rolling it out because we'd like to use less grass as possible and more trees and more cool plants.
Right, again, which fixes every
Native plants.
atom of carbon, and then the byproduct of what it literally excretes all these plants is the beautiful oxygen we all breathe. So it's just a win-win.
Right.
I love it.
Right. And as opposed to using grass, which is very sterile, and wildlife can't live in it, and it's difficult to maintain because you have to mow the grass.
Right, and when you mow the grass, you're typically using fossil fuels.
Exactly.
I mean, yeah, it's just like repeating the fossil fuel-based cycle. I
Yes,
love it. I love it. And so down here, as we continue, this is what park are we at in Secaucus, Amanda?
This is Mill Creek Point Park, and I'd encourage you to come by anytime.
Okay.
It's actually the start of our Greenway Trail, which goes to about, I think, 1.7 miles. And you see the Meadowlands. You basically get to see our community, and the mayor always says that it's the only place in the world where you can look at this beautiful Meadowlands and also check out the Empire State Building next to it.
That's gorgeous. The only place where you can see the Meadowlands and the Empire State Building.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. That's great. And I just want to harp back on the point that black septic and the microbes and the naturally occurring plants, native plants, as well as some invasive plants here, do such a phenomenal job. And we really, to this day, cannot, with machinery, bioremediate, clear, and clean the water anywhere near as efficiently and as quickly as nature can. So, I mean, the wetlands are such a critical part of all ecosystems, and I just think that preserving them and giving more funding towards them and just shedding a light on just how important they are to our viewers is so important. I mean, all the water that we we drink, one way or the other, becomes dirty and used, and the wetlands can bring it right back to that swimming pool quality water.
Yeah, and that's really why it's important to take care of the Meadowlands.
Meadowlands, love it. And so, what are we coming up? We're coming up on some beautiful, what look to be normal planter boxes right here.
Yes.
Right?
Oh yeah, this is an effort by our DPW and mayor and council to figure out ways to make planters more self-sustaining. So we actually partnered with a company called, I believe they're called Earth Planters.
Okay.
And basically they are made from recycled plastic. They are very light. So they will not, so you can throw them in the back of a truck, they can stack. So you don't have to make more truck runs. And you basically fill it up with water.
All right.
And then there's like recycled carpet on the bottom so that it kind of wicks up the water and then kind of just feeds the plants whenever it needs water. So it's kind of self-sustaining.
And it not only looks gorgeous, but correct me if I'm mistaken, it's probably a lot more fiscally conservative than a large piece of granite.
We're not here watering every day.
Right.
And also the fact that they are light and stackable is a big deal because we can throw them in the back of a truck pretty easily and drive them anywhere we want to.
Move them around town, events, changes in the seasons.
Yeah, and that's kind of a weird issue for some reason. Planters don't really normally do that.
Yeah, I mean, and all those little, this is where I think like the rubber hits the road when you have the 30,000 feet above the ground, sort of vision of, okay, let's be green or let's be more fiscally conservative. Well, how do we get that to happen? These are the things that make it happen. This is creative, this is inventive. Okay, now we have stackable, extremely, well priced planters that look like beautiful granite, but you can stack them to move them for your municipal needs.
Yes.
This is great.
And they also last. So they're not like the little flimsy ones that you can stack and move around, but they last a long time. They're very durable.
Wonderful, wonderful.
And this is the Hackensack River.
Hackensack River.
I really like this park.
Nice piece of oasis if you're commuting into New York City. Yeah. A great place for millennials, seniors, the youth, everybody to move and live and enjoy this really what seems to be not only a very productive financial town, but also a great place to live. I mean, it has like a sense of community. And I think the more and more I speak to people about this, it seems that we all have this natural attraction towards nature in some way, whether you hunt, fish, hike, etc. So
or bird.
Or bird, right? Here. Yeah, bird. I mean, yeah. So why not go to a place where the people who you're living near, your neighbors and the people who represent you, your town, your council, your mayor, are on board with that vision.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, wonderful.
We're very lucky to have them here.
Very lucky. Gorgeous view out here. Again, this is Secaucus, New Jersey, the wetlands. Beautiful, beautiful. Love it. So, I know you're humble, you're very successful. Can you please speak to, if you're willing, the amount of success you've had in the city of Secaucus and how you've made this department. To me, you've spearheaded and created this extremely fine-tuned machine where you don't rely upon taxpayer money for the most part, or even really, minimally. It's like 99% or something, that you self create. You write your own grants, you win money, and I think that is like, I don't know, I think that just speaks to an extremely important part about this whole process.
Yeah, I actually frequently talk about this because I really want young people especially to understand that because of the real needs that are in our communities, you can actually create a career out of that. And so when I was in college, I worked part-time in the community after talking to the mayor about a few ideas that I had to protect the meadowlands and to make the town more green. And he hired me part-time. And then when I eventually graduated, they hired me full-time because it made so much sense, because we were getting hundreds of thousands of dollars in grants, in donations, in sponsorships, and energy saving, money saving projects.
Right.
So it made a lot of sense to hire me, and this is where we are today. And I think young people especially, they are more entrepreneurial. They are discovering that they can have a career that actually really is meaningful, and at the same time fund their dreams.
That's wonderful. And just to be clear, we're not talking about 100,000, 50,000. We're talking about, on average, $250,000 that you've successfally written grants for and attracted to the city of Secaucus.
Yeah, thankfully we get some help from grant writers as well. But yeah, I mean, just even our Green Festival, for instance, it's funded by a company, a apartment company called Exchange.
Okay.
And they actually give us about $25,000 to $30,000 a year for our Green Festival alone,
generous.
Our annual Green Festival. So it's one of the biggest, around here. And that's the public-private partnership that you really need in a community to be successful at being a sustainable community. Because my department cannot be siloed. I need to work with, in order to function properly, I need to work with literally every department, from police to HR to construction and engineering, to finance.
Yeah, everybody.
Everyone every day. Yeah.
Education.
Yes.
Yeah.
School system.
Firefighters. Everybody.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And that's what's so cool about my job, is that I get to work with everyone, and I get to see what everyone's doing and how things work. So it's a really interesting way of working for a community.
Phenomenal. I think you should come visit Secaucus, ladies and gents. This is a great place. I think it's a...
we'll take you around.
Yeah, it's a great place, and I just want to thank you, Amanda, for your time.
Sure.
That was like a perfect final closing thought, but I just want to see if you have anything else to say as far as to encourage people to go into environmental studies, because I think that sometimes we get caught up in thinking that financial America is the only way to make money, when in reality it is a great way to make money, as well as environment, as well as education. So what kind of advice would you give someone who's deciding what to major in, or maybe their sophomore year at Columbia or Rutgers or Ramapo, or Bergen Community, and what would you say to them? And if there's anything else that that really like drives you, like what's your why and why are you here? Because I feel like that catches fire for our viewers.
Well, I would say that the future of sustainability and green and environmental issues, it's very, very bright. We are seeing more people actually invest in renewable energy technologies than in fossil fuels. Most companies are adopting sustainability measures and trying to uphold the sustainable development goals put together by the UN. We are seeing communities more and more trying to take climate action and figure out ways to protect and preserve their communities. And so that's where it's headed. The markets are headed in that direction. So get on the bandwagon now, so that we can contribute to the success that's happening around the country in terms of sustainability. And I would say that it's also, at the same time, it's happening, but it's also urgent. We have to go out there. We have to help our communities. We have the solutions, and we have, we're responsible. We have the responsibility of reaching out to our community and helping. And I got a degree in environmental studies, and I'm now getting a master's in sustainability management here in Hoboken. But I would encourage people to tackle whatever it is, whatever career that they want to do, and incorporate sustainability in that, because you can do that if you are a police officer, if you are a shoemaker, if you're an accountant, if you're a business owner. There's so many different ways that you can contribute to the society in an environmental and sustainability positive way.
Phenomenal. Thank you so much, Amanda, and thank you. Phenomenal job. Secaucus leading the way for the green future.
Thanks.